This chair is a little noisy, so it's not me, I promise. Hello and welcome back to the Cozy Arts. I am Cherish, and sorry about the mess. I really need to clean this space, but every time I start I just get distracted. But we're not talking about that today. No, today we're talking about this. In my last sewing video, I talked about how I have made my piece with my sewing machine, but I ended up cutting out my description of how I did that. But today we're going to talk about what I did to improve my relationship with my sewing machine, and I'm going to do a little bit of sewing on it. So I mentioned in my last video that I watched a lot of Sarah Spaceman videos, and that is what helped me figure things out. And the first thing that I did that I think made a really big difference is it's all about thread. I had heard that Gutermann thread is a really good thread to use, so that's what I was using for my machine. I have some Gutermanns. But when Sarah Spaceman was talking in her video, she was talking about how her sewing machine, one of her sewing machines held the thread horizontally, and so Coats and Clark thread didn't work because it didn't work for that machine because the thread is going straight across, and it didn't work very well for that layout. So I was wondering if the inverse was true, because the other option is you have thread that has an X is crossed, like this Gutermann thread. So this is what I had been using because I heard that this was a really good thread. But what if it's just not a good thread? Oh, goodbye thread. It fell way back there. What if it's not a good thread for my machine? So I did switch to the Coats and Clark because it is threaded this way and it works pretty well. I don't know that that is the reason why my sewing machine and I got along better, but I think it definitely helped. It made a big impact. The other thing that I did, of course, was mess with tension, because you gotta mess with tension all of the time. Right now I think I'm not gonna touch it. See, the thing about tension is I just don't understand what the sewing machine wants to be. But at any rate, I messed with it a little bit and it seemed to help. So yeah, I always mess with the tension. So switching the thread and tweaking the tension again really did help. I did pretty well sewing a shirt until I got towards the end of it, and I'd been sewing for an hour or so, and then it started to give me problems. And it made me think of how every time I sew for an extended period of time with this machine, like more than an hour, it becomes more and more of a nightmare. Which leads to the place where it probably should have started, but there's reasons why I have been hesitant to do this. So I oiled my machine. I know it's really bad and it's an important step, and probably it should not have gone this long, because I got this machine 7 or 8 years ago in a rummage sale for $2, and since then it did have a professional look at it, so I am not sure if it was oiled at that time. I would hope so, because otherwise what is the point? But I don't believe that I oiled it, because in my defense it would make me sick. I have multiple chemical sensitivity, and sewing machine oil can be smelly. I mean, I really like my child's new sewing machine, but the oil that came on it is so smelly. I have to hold my breath while I sew because it is so smelly. The good news is, though, I don't have to fight with it, so I suppose hopefully it'll air out a little bit, or if I ever use that machine for a longer project, I will have to put on my respirator because it's so smelly. But yeah, so it's time for my machine to get a little spa treatment. So I put on a respirator and I grabbed some Q-tips and rags and opened her up, and I put oil on everything that looked like it was supposed to move. And that's it. So I am a little bit worried. I'm a little bit worried that we haven't fully made our piece. So that's one of the reasons why I used my child's sewing machine for for the little fixes that I was doing in the last video. Is I've got a little bit of trauma, and I just don't want to have any more problems. No more problems with this machine, but I think we're good. So we're going to try it, and we're gonna do one more project with my vintage Kenmore. And if you did watch last video, this project will be familiar to you because it's this shirt again. Watching the footage, I just really hated the gap. This is like such a summery shirt. Like, it's okay that it's floppy and wrinkly, but I just don't like the gap right here. It's just way too big, and all my other Peter Pan, you can't really see this one as well because it's so blendy, but I just like the no gap. It's cute. So I think what I need to do is I need to like fold them over and add new snaps, and then that should fit nicely and cutely. But unfortunately, it will mean destroying the snaps that are already here, and the snaps that are already here are pretty cute. We got little flower snaps, which I don't have a lot of, so that means that we're going to have to say goodbye to these flower snaps. R.I.P. But they're a little juvenile for a grown woman shirt. So the flower snaps are gonna go goodbye. They do make a tool, because I use cam snaps, like cam plastic snaps and cam metal snaps. They do make a tool, like die, that you would add to your snap press that can punch a hole through that and make it easy to take these out. I think that's how it works. Makes them easy to take these off at any rate. But it's kind of a lot of money, and I don't have one. And you know what else works really pretty well for taking off snaps? I mean, hopefully, it can be a huge pain to take these off, but hopefully this trick will work well today. And that is just a butter knife. Just slide the butter knife in and pop it off. Of course. Yeah, easy peasy. And then be careful that you don't leave these lying around because they really hurt when you step on them. So I'm going to de-snap this, and then we'll get to sewing. See you in a bit. Still not perfect tension. Okay, well, this top stitch doesn't look terrible, other than the fact that it's maybe not the right color for it, but it fit with the collar. But yeah, it does want to be on a higher number, it looks, because the stuff at the end where I went back up to a high tension looks better than this. It's just I'm gonna try and finish it with this machine, but I might be stealing my child. I might be borrowing my child's machine for the foreseeable future. And if they ever move out and take their machine with them, then I'm getting a new machine, because we are better, but we are not okay. No, that's not good. I'll put you in the middle. does not sound good. Nope, that is not good. Yeah, it's not. It's not okay. Ooh, and I'm almost out of this thread. So I think I am gonna go downstairs and finish it on the machine that is not a jerk to me. Well, that escalated quickly. I couldn't finish the shirt on the other sewing machine. I had a problem and I couldn't fix it, and I got frustrated, and I decided just to close it up in the cabinet and move this machine out of the dining area and into a permanent home on this desk. So now we have space for it. It has a place, and yeah, the child can still obviously come up here and use it, because we don't really want them to use it without supervision anyway, so it's fine. It's just frustrating, and I have a little bit left to do. Oof. Oof. Oof, these are not attractive. Not attractive seams. But I am also almost out of this thread, so I'm going to finish this up, and if I can go over anything, I will. It's still a little stinky, but it seems like it is getting a lot better. That's actually not. Okay, well, yeah, you can see the difference. Nice new machine, mean old crabby machine. I think I might see how far the thread goes, because I actually missed that a little bit. I always sewed on the top whenever possible on the old machine, just because the bottom was gonna look ugly, but this one is kind of okay both sides. So let's try and run it down a little bit. But in the other sewing machine's defense, I remembered that the previous clothes that I was sewing on that was a heavy shirting fabric, and I didn't change the needle. So that could have also been part of what the machine was mad about. But you know what? We don't have to try and make it happy anymore. We can cut it out of our lives. Oh, goodbye, beautiful machine. And use this beautiful machine that is nice to us. There. Beautiful. Not ugly at all. Not sarcastic in the slightest. Well, it might not be pretty, but it's done. I'm gonna cover this machine up so it stops stinking at me. Now let's do snaps. I'm so excited because I finally have a good project to use these snaps on. I have been saving them because they haven't been right for anything yet, but can you even see how pretty those are? They're so pretty. They're like shiny and rainbowy, like an oil slick, but not a tragedy. Ooh, so pretty. We have dye in here from the utility snaps that I was using for my overalls. I'm gonna take them out and put them with the rest of the utility snaps so they don't get lost. Now, when I bought, oh no! The plastic snaps, you don't have to change the dye out, they just stay attached to the machine. So, like, that's really simple. One of the reasons why sometimes I use plastic snaps, even now that I have metal snaps. But this piece of paper came with my snap press, and hang onto it, especially if you use this as infrequently as I do. I never can remember what I need for which steps, so this tells you which dye you need. So if we put I think this is going to be the top, so this should get the female. So I'm going to need the cap and the female piece. But now I need the die for that. So I can look here and oh, there they are. Thought I lost them. So you have my Fashion Snap size 20 here. So I'm going to need this flatty one. And then the one for the female is, not you, is this guy right here. So this one's for the male, and it's got that little edge on it, so that's helpful. Okay, so this screws in. And then this just plops in. One thing you can do is you can screw this into a surface. So then this, if you turn this upside down enough, this might fall out. But I don't use this often enough to give it space. So it's handheld, and that actually kind of makes it really easy to get into places that you otherwise wouldn't be able to get into. Now the other thing that makes plastic snaps easier than metal snaps is plastic snaps, they poke a hole and then they're able to poke their own hole. Whereas for metal snaps, not only do you need to poke a hole, but like you need to be able to get this through the hole, and it's just, it likes to close up before I do that. So I like to kind of dilate my hole, if that makes sense. Is this where it needs to go? I think I might have accidentally put that in the right spot. So, okay, so we're going to, oh no, this is the old spot. I'm going to try to use my old ones so that I can do this easier. So I like to put the awl through where I want it to go, but then I'm going to switch to something bigger. What I have handy is crochet hooks, so I'm going to put in a slightly larger crochet hook. And then for the utility snaps, I had to do this a bunch of times just to get it big enough. But where did that go? Okay. Really need to not lose my stuff while I'm working. But the holes needed for the fashion snaps are a little bit smaller. Oh yeah, so I just need 2. Easy. This is going to be a breeze. Then you stick. Let me double check and make sure that's okay. Yeah, that's what I need to do. Then you stick that there. And then I'm going to press it. Double check that this is the outside. Yep, this is what I want. And it's on. And it says in the instructions not to squeeze too hard with the metal ones. The plastic ones, you really have to really give it a good squeeze. The metal ones don't need as good of a squeeze, not sneeze. So, ooh, look at how pretty. Flower snaps who? All right, well, guess I better get to work. side, we've got to switch these out again. And this time we're using post. Now this is definitely going to need a bigger hole. So we're definitely going to have to do at least 3 passes, I'm guessing. But we're going to have this stud, which goes in the back, and then this. So they're going to get squished together. But as I'm doing this, I'm going to want to give it a little test and make sure that it lines up the way that I want. And also, we're doing this for the collar. Yeah, I think if I put it close to where my seam is, that will be good. What I did for the utility snaps is I just went all the way through, and that kept the hole nice and big for me. Oh, yeah, first time. Oh no! Well, that doesn't look good. That's very uneven, but the good news is that I only wear this shirt with overalls. So, whoops. Well, the good news is that the shirt is fixed and it's so much cuter now. I think I will finally actually wear this shirt a lot and be excited about it. Yeah, it's definitely cutest with overalls. Overalls can hide so many sins. So yes, when in doubt, overalls. But the bad news is we're done with the Kenmore. I feel a little sad. The main thesis of this video was going to be, look, I can sew now with my vintage machine, and it ended up being no, I can't, and I give up because I have a machine that doesn't make my life so frustrating. But the good news is that we do have an option. I do have this sewing machine currently available to me, and it works super well. And if anything ever happens to that, then I will be sad. But in the meantime, it's working super well and doing what I ask it to. And it's got a fun little smocking stitch, which I'm excited to try out more in the future. Basically, yeah, I have a lot of projects that I want to do, and I'm excited to sew now, which I haven't been for a long time. I definitely have things to learn. I'm not a great sewer now, but I can actually get better with this machine because it's not a jerk to me the entire time. So, good news! More sewing in the future, and more of a lot of things in the future, because I am feeling a little more excited and a little more like, not so much that I know what I'm doing, but I know what I want to be doing. I'm excited for things that make me super excited, and I have a few videos brewing, and I'm excited to get to work on them, even though I think they're going to be difficult. That's where the fun is. So please subscribe, like this video if you want to see more, if you want to follow along, because I do, you know, cozy things. I mean, sometimes I do frustrated, I hate my sewing machine, but no more, because now she's put away. She can't hurt us anymore. We can just look at her when we want to look at a pretty machine and never sew on her again, because she hasn't earned that. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye.